friends. Annotation. How you have got a good breakfast today. Now, are you wondering why this looks so messy and empty? Yes, because we are in scale 1 is to 1. Now, let's see what happens if we set the scale 1 is to 100. Oh, voila, everything looks. Now, Autocad and region, actually you see the lines are also how they correct. If we have 1 is to 200, which we don't have, 100 is to 50, for example, everything changes, so it can be printed at 1 is to 50. Now, AutoCAD has this thing of annotation, annotative scales, I think from 2004 or something like this, and it's misused. It takes a bit of resources of the drawing. That's the only problem, and sometimes it gets a bit messy. For example, if I now touch this one, it will show, yeah, it will show the scale and also two more scales that has set up for this item. No. Let's discuss first why do we need things that are annotative. Well, easy. Let's say that this is in an A3 and this is a house, and we do a dimension of the house. We just, let's say that we do the dimension with our dimension tool. Okay. Now this is an A3, but A4 would be actually more about this scale. An A2, if we want to print the same in an A2, will be something like this, right? Now, this will print very little. So what we do is that we set this to be 1 is to 200. So 1 is to 200, we don't have it set up here. 1 is to 200. And what happened is nothing. And why nothing is happening? Easy, because every item in AutoCAD in the properties have this thing which is annotative scale. If we go here, we can set in what scales are annotative and what scales are not annotative. So we add 1 is to 200. Okay. So this one now, you see how this one changed, and this one is still in 100. If this item is not set to be annotative at 100, it will still display at 100. Also, we can say that things don't display if they are not in the proper layer, which is this icon here. See? We turn off. If we are in 200 now, which is the drawing is in 200, this is set up to be 200. That thing wasn't set out to be 200, and we click in here, so it's hiding annotation visibility. Show annotated object for current scale only. And then we have the other thing is automatically add scales to annotative objects. If we have this, every time we change the scale, it will create a new scale, which is a pain in the neck. So let's turn this on, which is normally handy. And now you will ask, why do we need annotative scales? Because very often we show the same thing in different scales. Like for example, we print the site plan and then we print the boundary line and the boundary line in the site plan and in the ground floor, and the site plan might be a 1 is to 200 or 1 is to 500, and we don't want that scale to be huge or unreadable. So actually this will vary automatically depending on the scale. Now, does it make sense to have everything in every scale? No, because it takes a lot of resources. So ideally we are neat with that, and we choose in what scale is printed. Now, there are a few more things. Let's go now to the drawing we were working before. And let's go here. Floor plan. Now, every viewport has a scale, and has an annotative scale. So if I come here, I just click in the viewport. I'm just gonna do big. So this is the viewport. I can then navigate. Oh, Interesting. If I do zoom, it doesn't go. Why? It's because the viewport is locked. So go outside, click on the viewport, and we have a display locked. Yes. We say no. Now, I mean, I normally prefer everyone to lock the display once it's set up, because then, as you know, it gets really hard to navigate and get things back. By the way, the scale, I mean, the command to get things on scale is to say X, enter, no, sorry, Z, enter, 1/100, because we want 100 XP, which is extension, and it will go there. And then we have to set the viewport to match this, but fortunately we've been smart enough as to put a grid outside our title block, so it's easy to reset up. Now this is set is a 100 scale, and in here we can see annotative scale to 100 also. What happens if we actually move the annotative scale to, let's say, 200? If AutoCAD doesn't crash, which is crashing now. Okay. Well, one is that it automatically set the standard scale to 200. For some reason, you cannot change that without changing the normal scale, but then you can change the standard scale to 100 and get that effect. You can see 100 down here. Bam. So now here we go. We are with the annotation is massive, and it's because it's 1:200 and the scale is 100. So that is a bit of a mess. We put it back to 100 and 100, and voila, it looks perfect. So every block we have done normally prints just right on the annotative scale. And just for 1 second. Now let's go back to the model, and let's do one more last thing. Blocks. Do blocks make sense to be annotative? Well, it depends. Now, does it make any sense that the basing is annotative? No, because it's a block of something real. We don't want it to change the size depending on the scale. It's always the same scale. However, does it make sense that, for example, this call out change the scale depending on the scale? Absolutely. These have to be always at this size, which is beautiful, printed in the drawing, and we don't want to see this disgustingly big on one drawing and tiny in another one. Same as text, same as also hatch. Hatch might not make sense in some cases, it might make sense in some other cases. So let's see, what do we do? So let's do something like that. So this will be our block of whatever is this shape, we don't know. And let's do hatch in here. That is this one. Let's see if the scale is right. It's a bit too small. Let's do 20. Okay, that's okay. And we can say that it's annotative, in fact. Okay. Now, it's annotated to 100. We could even change the scale to be 2. Okay, so if we now change the scale, it affects the hatch also. Now, it's not affecting. Why? Because it hasn't been set up for the scale 1:200. So we click in here, we go to annotative scale, we click in the ellipses, we add the scale, we say this 200 also, we want it to be printed. So now we have it to 200. Okay, so now let's make a block. We call it trial. Select objects, this one. Select pick point, this one. Now it will ask us if this is annotative or not annotative. Let's say that it's annotative. Okay, where it goes, it messed up everything, because if we go now to 1:100, it doesn't change because it's not been set up to be 1:100. Normally it is created with the scale that is being set up. So if we come here and we say add scale to 1:100, which is somewhere here, okay, it will change the scale. Now we don't want this, So change this is impossible unless we explode the block and make it again the block. This scale is 1:100. It messed everything up. That's why it have to be treat with care all this thing of annotative scale. Let's say trial 2, select objects, okay, and we don't say that it's annotative. Pick the point, okay. Now, if we change the scale to 1:200, it doesn't change the scale, but the hatch should change the scale. Mark in place, okay. So we come here, annotative is just annotative, and then we add the scale is to 200 in this case. And we can also do that this, for example, is not annotative. Not annotative, okay. So we just save this block, okay. And if we change the scale 1:100, the block doesn't change, the hatch change, but this that we said that is not to change, it doesn't change. So this is very important to have it clear, because it makes a lot of power of maneuver with the same drawing in different scales. And the idea is that the minimum lines we have in the drawing, the better. Okay, thank you. Bye.